Okay, so today we are going to have a group presentation. So today group 3 on art forgeries case. So the discussion would be group apa? Discussion group 6 lah. Okay, group 3 ada dah ready ke? Group 3?
Ya, madam. Saya share dulu, madam.
Alright. Kalau dah ready boleh start now. Group 6 ada tak tau? Group 6.
Ada, madam.
Group. Okay, good. Okay, so now I pass the class to group number 3 to begin their presentation.
Apa ini? BECG.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Sanadira binti Alias. Dengar tak?
Dengar. Tapi macam tersangkut-sangkut.
Oh, ya ke? Sekejap. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Sanadira binti Alias and we are from group 3. And our member is Nur Ashfarina, Sarifah Mu'mina, Nur Sasabila and Anis Radia. Today I would like to present the case study 2, which is art forgeries. Without wasting our time, I will present about ethics. Okay, so first of all, the about ethics is a set of principles that contains behavior codes to determine what is right or wrong. And the original word is ethos. Ethos is a Greek word. Character, spirit, and attitudes of a group of people or culture.
Sorry. Can you share the slides?
Itulah
I
slide
can't.
tak bergerak. Kejap eh.
Dia freeze eh.
Kejap.
Cuba kalau you keluar balik and then you ni balik.
Tu dah bergerak dah.
You buat dalam bentuk slideshow.
Dalam slideshow.
Tapi yang kita orang nampak ni bukan slideshow ni.
Kejap.
Alright.
Kejap.
Tak boleh?
Tak tahulah. Kejap. Tak boleh je.
Tak boleh full kan eh? Dia jadi freeze ke ataupun tak keluar?
Dah buat dah besar tapi tak jadi.
Alright, it's okay. Sorry?
Line kot. Tak sure kejap eh.
Kalau macam tu boleh tak you pangkah yang slide transition sebelah tu? You pangkah kan? Biar lagi nampak besar sikit you punya slide. Alright.
Okay, saya sambung eh.
Alright.
Okay, so first of all, it's about the ethics. It's a set of principles that contains behavior codes to determine what is wrong or what is right or wrong. So the original word is ethos. It is the Greek word, which is mean by character, spirit, and attitudes of a group of people or culture. And the next is ethics is a system of moral principles. They affect how people make decisions and live their lives. So the last is ethics is concerned with what is good for individuals and society, and is also described as moral philosophy. Next. Next is what is art forgery. Art forgery is the creating and selling of works of art which are falsely credited to other, usually more famous artists. Art forgery can be extremely lucrative, but modern edit and analysis techniques have made the identification of forged artwork much simpler. There are essentially three varieties of art forger. First of all is the person who actually creates the fraudulent piece. Next is the person who discovers a piece and attempts to pass it off as something it is not in order to increase the piece value. And the last is the third who discovers that a work is a fake but sell it as an original anyway. Next is the methods of detection. The most obvious forgeries are revealed as clumsy copies of previous art. A forger may try to create a new work by combining the elements of more than one work. The forger may omit details typical to the artist they are trying to imitate or anachronism in an attempt to claim that the forged work is a slightly different copy or a previous version of a more famous work. To detect the work of a skilled forger, investigators must rely on other methods. Anachronisms is an object misplaced in time, but it may be verbal expression, a technology, a philosophical idea, a musical style, a material, a plant or animal, a costume, or anything else associated with a particular period that is placed outside its proper temporal domain. The next presenter, I would like to the member.
Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to Madam and all. My name is Nur Ashfarina binti Ahmad Bukhari. I would like to present about the synopsis of these cases, which is art forgeries. Okay. It happened.
You tak boleh on webcam Ashfarina?
My webcam rosak, Madam.
Oh, okay.
Yang ni saya
Okay.
guna phone sebab yang
Phone,
tu
alright.
rosak.
But can you speak louder? Tak berapa clear.
Can.
Right.
Clear ke, Madam?
Kuat sikit lagi.
Sekarang? Kuat lagi. Okay. Eric Hebborn, 1934 until 1996 was an English painter and art forger. Mark Landis was born on 1955, is an American forger who donated fake to more than 50 art galleries and museums. Hebborn never sued because art experts refused to admit in court that they had been deceived. Landis had not been prosecuted because he never profited from his forgeries. We could not identify a federal crime violations. Senior FBI investigator. Basically, you have a guy going around the country on his own, giving stuff to museum, said Robert Whitman, senior FBI investigator. Heaven, only the expert are worth fooling. The greater the expert, the greater the satisfactions by deceiving them. So this is the only synopsis about our these cases. And I go to the next slide, which is question 1. The question is, it is ethical acceptable to sell forgeries to art experts who should be able to differentiate a fake from an authentic work of art. From our point of view, it is absolutely immoral and unethical to do so because selling forgeries to anyone is actually unethical and immoral on the part of the individual. Selling forgeries to an expert who should be able to tell a forgery from an article piece of art, comparing to selling to an amateur. This means the deception is greater, even though only the art expert who should be able to distinguish the difference it will be still unethical. The second one is deception ethical? It is dishonest, unfair, and action that lack empathy and compassion. It is not in keeping with the golden rule, which means to treat others as we want to be treated in a positive of directive form. In this case, it is given that the personal code of Harbin did not allow him to sell those fake art to amateur because he wanted to deceive only the expert so as to fool them with the statement. Only the expert are worth fooling. The greater the expert, the greater the satisfaction in deceiving them. It described that he derived a pleasure from deceiving the expert but no amateur. And the last one is fake art. However, why such case? This case grabbed my attention that the overall picture is still common in Malaysia. So the second one is comment on Harbin moral code. So a moral code is a collection of law that we make for ourselves in order to live our life. Most of us do not write the word down, but we all have them. Since each person in the society is a special, so are the moral codes. Consider the moral code of military profession versus that of a musician, or that of a youth versus than that of an elderly man. They may have many laws that are identical, but their moral code is influenced by what they do. The moral tend to be derived by personal beliefs and value. There are certainly some common moral that most people agree on. First is do not cheat. The first one is do not cheat. As for Haben and contemporary critics do not seem to appreciate his own painting, Haben began to copy the style of old masters such as Carrot, Dick, and more. According to Haben himself, he has sold thousands of fake paintings. In the sculpture of the drawing, Hab's were his own work, made to resemble the style of historical artists and slightly alter or a copy. The second one is have integrity. Haben continued to create his forgeries, changing his style, changing his style slightly to avoid any future and manufactured at least 500 more drawings between 1970 and 19. This one is responsibility for your in 84 and feeling as
Tak clear lah. Ashfarina tak clear.
dekat part mana tu yang ada?
Suara you tak berapa ni sangat.
Sekarang sangkut kot madam.
Dah tersangkut-sangkut dan tak berapa dengar.
Sebab saya pakai line dekat wifi Miza ni.
Alright.
Okay.
Tak apa,
Sekarang
proceed.
okay tak madam? Okay, so the last one is take your action responsibility for your action. In 1984, Haben admitted to a number of forgeries and Philip has thought he had done nothing wrong. He used the press generated by his confessions to degenerate the art world. So here we don't have to deduce his moral, they clearly the cases. So the next slide, I will pass to the next presenter, madam. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum. Assalamualaikum and good morning all. Okay, for my part, I will present question 3, question 4, and another one is conclusion and opinion. For question 3, the question is, was anyone harmed when Landis donated his project painting to various art galleries and museums? The answer is yes, from a teleological relating to design or purpose, especially in nature perspective, that is looking at the consequences or impact of decision. We could say that the reputation of curator, galleries and museum could suffer, such as a donor by association could feel duped and disheartened of if their funding dollars went to facility improvement to house fake. Art students could feel duped also about studying fake. People associate with the art galleries or museum may feel less trusting, and that could result in negative feedback and a reduction of funding for the arts. So in the future, the institution should decide to sell one of the forgeries, believing to be authentic, and the institution reputation could suffer even more, as could the unsuspecting buyer. Um, a New Yorker article reported that although Lord Landis was not paid by a museum, he was treated like a royalty for donating a picture and was invited to take anything he liked from the gift shop by the museum director. So the museum did suffer monetary losses as a result of the deception. At another museum, art by Renoir was displaced to make room for one of Landis forgeries. So the museum may have disappointed or lost patrons who come to see the Renoir. So I move to the next question, question 4. Okay, the question for number 4 is, does the fact that Landis does not profit from his donation mean that it was ethically acceptable to give forgeries to art galleries and museums? The answer is no. It was not ethically acceptable for the same reason as in question 1, 2, and 3. He seemed to be feeding his own ego at the expense of others. So he seemed to be acting selfishly rather than with self-interest. He may argue from utilitarian perspective, which that he improved the art world and society access to art by providing great art for free and increase happiness. However, he misrepresented the art which is under rule utilitarianisation. He lied, which he would be considered to produce more pain than pleasure most of the time. Um, if he wants to give away his own art under his name, he could, but he would be acting ethically. However, in effect, he plagiarized. He could again argue that he hurt no one, since the artist's copy were dead. But again, if the works were copyright, he would be uh, infringing on copyright laws and he would be doing harm. So I would conclude that it was not ethically acceptable for the same reason as in question 1, 2, and 3. He misrepresented the art which is under the rule utilization. If he wants to give away his own art, he can, but under his own name, and he could, and he would be acting ethically. So, for the last part is conclusion and overall the case. I would conclude that for the conclusion from okay, for this conclusion for this case from Ed Hebben case, even though he admitted to selling thousands of forged painting, drawing, sculptures, but he was never be sued by any any laws because embarrassed art experts refused to admit in court that they have been tricked. Okay, for Mark Landis case, which is unlike Eric Hebben, Landis began to forge lesser known artists and donated his fake painting to more than 50 art galleries and museums in 20 states. Landis also has not been sued because he never been profited from his own forgeries. And he also never accepted any money from the art galleries and museums, nor did he claim any tax deduction for his donation.
Should Landis consider
And also,
making his case
FBI investigators say that they cannot identify a federal crime violation on Mark Landis. So our opinion is about Eric Haben and Mark Landis case are both of them are doing bad things and they are an unethical person, even though they have good intention, like donating or maybe just to be famous, but still they should not forge painting at the first place. There are so many things to do, but due to see like that. And for us, it is very disappointed because local do nothing. It can affect other people such as art students, family members of the original painter and society. Maybe after this, there are more cases like this because maybe some people think it is alright to do the same thing like them, but because the law can do nothing to them. So I will end our present with a video.
Mm.
Have you start the video? Tak boleh kan?
Sekejap. Saya cuba balik.
How did you connect to more lands? Our forger, as you said, he given our lives because murder Jennifer read about in the New York Times. She had been traveling the country making forgery works of art that he had posing as a philanthropist, going to museums, giving away. Jennifer, this very important word, right? We donate. This is the reason why no one has been able to go after him. Because of money that's been involved.
Exactly. He kept taking a tax deduction and never asked for payment for the gifts. And so even though it's technically fraud, there was no monetary damage. And so it makes it very hard to prosecute.
Describe a little bit about the personality of Mark Webs and who he is as a person.
Mark, he's eccentric, he's charming, he's very, very funny.
He's been diagnosed by various people or described by various people as either being schizophrenic or having bipolar.
He was diagnosed at 17 as having schizophrenia. I don't think he's been technically diagnosed with bipolar, but certainly people have lots of opinions about what actually his diagnosis should be.
Sam, when you first met Mark Landis, what was your reaction? Well, it was a documentary discovery made, and Mark really had every we thought we were going to be built on an art portrait, big question about art, and of course it did, but Mark as a personality has opened up a window into a much broader investigation. Jennifer, someone who just describe who they
Alright,
are.
group number 3. Saya rasa video ni tak apa jelas, dia tersangkut-sangkut. But it's okay. Just stop the video. Can you just summarize what is the video is all about? Sebab dia tersekat-sekat je tak dengar apa sebenarnya ni. So can you just summarize what is the video is all about?
Hello.
Okay.
Okay.
Just explain, simple explanation je. Sebenarnya video ni
Okay.
pasal apa ni?
The video is about Mark Landis. He actually suffering from mental illness and diagnosed as schizophrenic, something like bipolar, at the age of 17. And both of them, selepas dia didapati bersalah Lepas tu dia hilangkan diri. Lepas tu dua orang tu dia dia apa? Dia dapat kontak lah Landis tu. So lepas tu dia macam apa dia tanyalah Mak Landis tu pasal pasal ni lah, pasal diri dia lah. Lepas tu lah kita dapat tahu dia tu suffering from mental
Apa pula?
illness.
Mental
Ah, ah.
illness.
Mental illness, something like bipolar. Lepas tu macam tu lah. Sebenarnya dia nak attention lah sebenarnya Mak Landis ni.
That's why he forged the pay.
Yes. Macam tu lah kalau Mak Landis ni. Sebab video ni about Mak Landis je, bukan pasal
Seorang tu dah tak ada pun Rehab pun tu kan.
Yes. Sebab 3 minit je. Okay.
Alright. It's okay because the video kita tak ni so you just give a summary of the video. So
Okay.
are you done with your presentation?
Yes, done.
Alright, now I open for question and answer session. So I give the opportunity to group number 6 first. Group number 6, any question or any comment regarding their presentation? Group number 6.
Syarah mana?
Ada tak group number 6
Ada madam.
Elmira.
Cepat.
Sorry. Okay, for the first question,
Kuat sikit, ayu sangat semua orang. Kita tidur semua orang puasa-puasa ni. Kuat sikit.
for first question, dengar ke?
Dengar. Okay, proceed.
Should Landis consider using his great talent to create his own art instead of forging arts?
Okay. I will answer the question. Should Landis consider using his great talent to create his own art instead of forging arts? My answer is yes. He should consider it because he has great talent. But since he is suffering from mental illness and was diagnosed as bipolar at the age 17, so we can know that he is sick. I think if he is not suffering from mental illness, I think he can famous with his great talent and he can make money and get attention from doing the same thing, like he donating his painting without taking any money. And even if he is sick, forging art is still kind of acceptable. But for your question is yes, the answer is yes. He should consider it because he has great talent. And is it my question answer your is it my your question is it my answer your question?
Yes, answer.
Okay, next.
Next.
For second question, okay, let's say you are reincarnated as Mr. Landis with your memories as BECG student intact. Would you still follow his step in art forgery and fake paintings donation? If yes, why would you do that? If no, what's your opinion? What's your point?
Okay. So I will answer that question. So my answer would be no, because we have our knowledge in ethics. So we need to use it wisely, because in study in BCEG, everything will lead us to become ethics, not only like being student, but also must have practice in and apply in our daily life. That's my answer.
So what's the question again?
Wait. Education. Let's say you are reincarnated as Mr. Landis with your memories as BECG student intact. Would you still follow his step in art forgery and fake paintings donation?
Alright.
If yes,
So the group number 3 answer is no. Alright.
okay.
Okay, next. Ada lagi?
No more question, but just want to say my opinion. For me, if we have a basic about ethics, we will never to think to do the art forgery. For me lah.
Alright. So that's your comment.
Yes.
How about comment regarding their presentation? Yeah.
For me about presentation is not clear. Maybe
Line problem,
line problem because of rain, hujan. My group mate also have a problem internet because of
Kat mana hujan Sini tak hujan.
tahu tempat dia orang ada yang dekat Kedah hujan.
Oh ya.
Uh-uh.
Sebab sekarang tengah ni kan peralihan monsun semua kan. Alright, okay now done with group number 6. Oh, so now I open for other class members. Anyone who wants to question the group or you want to comment about the presentation? Anyone?
Komen boleh Doktor?
Boleh. Siapa? Ashraf?
Saya Doktor.
Alright, okay. You nak komen pasal group tu ke nak komen pasal case?
Cara jawab boleh Doktor?
Alright, boleh. Okay.
Soalan 1 saya rasa dia lebih fokus kepada proud triangle. Lepas tu soalan 2 dia lebih fokus kepada moral versus ethic. Soalan ketiga dia lebih kepada teologi tu yang
Teleology.
Teologi. Lepas tu yang keempat tu lebih kepada law versus ethics.
Okay.
Sebabnya yang nombor 3 ni dia lebih kepada satu maklumat yang pasal dia menghadapi mental illness ni tak ada. Jadi saya rasa macam tak ada apalah. Cuma just fikir pro and cons je lah. Tapi doktor yang masalah dia dekat ni doktor, yang contoh kan bidang seni ni bukan semua yang mahir kan. Bidang seni. Jadi bekalan untuk bahan yang asli tu ada macam terhad lah ada satu kan. Jadi boleh ke kalau dia nak sebarkan kepada seluruh dunia walaupun dah satu kan. Kan satu tu yang asli. Lepas tu yang harga yang mahal. Kalau dia guna yang palsu ni boleh ke tak doktor?
What do you mean? The ni painting tu?
Yang painting tu. Sebab satu yang asli tu harga dia jual biasanya yang mahal. Seni ni biasanya harga yang mahal lah. Lepas
But
tu,
it is actually unethical sebab because painting ni it is a masterpiece of the painter kan, masterpiece. So sepatutnya that one macam masterpiece ni kena ada patent. That's why kita ada copyright semua tu untuk patent kan art punya kerja ni. So bila kita patentkan memang salah untuk orang lain ambil kita punya masterpiece. Alright. So in this case memang harga mahal sebab itu adalah masterpiece kan. Benda yang dan orang lain actually not allowed to copy the painting. Alright. So it is actually unethical. Okay. Unless the painter allow orang lain tu dia tak do the pattern ke apa and then orang lain boleh ambil suka hatilah dia punya, tapi in the personal moral of code it is actually unethical. Alright. Any other comment from
macam mana kalau dia kan tengok satu lukisan tu kan, lepas tu dia combine satu lukisan lain, lepas tu dia menghasilkan satu lukisan baru. Yang tu kira unethical ke
Macam mana dia combine dua?
Dia combine dua lukisan. Itu satu macam teknologi kan, dia ada macam belakang tu kata Mazda, depan tu kata Myvi. Dia combine tu jadi satu produk, jadi satu versi. Dia macam tu.
That one I think is okay because it is called macam innovation. Dia sama juga macam kalau macam kami sebagai akademik kan kena do research paper kan, article. So what we can do is that we can get the article from the original paper and then we try to suit the study with our situation or our environment. So that one is called adopt and adapt. So I think that one is okay. That one is not copy paste ataupun kita ambil pattern orang ke, itu tak apa. Sebab kita try to adopt and adapt. Macam you cakap tadi, ada dua kereta and then combine jadi satu. So itu tak, you tak ambil the original sebab you dah try to adopt and adapt. And then you suit with your current interest ataupun demand of the customer, for example. Right? So I think that one is okay lah. That one is ethical. Am I answer your question, Ashraf?
Yes, Doktor. Answer, Doktor.
Okay. Anything else? Ada siapa-siapa lagi tak? Anyone? No. Okay, kalau tak ada, okay, let's comment the presentation. I have several comments for the presentation. Alright. So thank you very much for group number 3 and group number 6. Okay. And group number 3, you have done a good job. I really appreciate your effort. And then you can get the interview of the real case of Mark Landis. But in the presentation, it's okay. Okay, it's okay. But if you answer the question in the exam, you tak ada masa untuk Google semua tu kan. So you have to answer the question based on the case given. Based on the case given. Alright, so but this is a group assignment and presentation, so I really appreciate the video. Okay, itu tak apa sebabnya you present benda tu, tapi dalam exam you tak boleh jawab lah, macam you jawab soalan ni tak boleh gunakan alasan, you can't use the excuse of Mark Landis have bipolar or mental illness because in the case did not stated Mark Landis ni ada mental illness. Alright, so what you can do is that you just answer the question based on the case given. Alright, okay, now okay, then I like your presentation when you try to explain what is art forgery during your introduction, in your introduction slides, right? So I think it's good because not all know about art forgery. Okay, so when you explain what is art forgery, and then we can get some idea lah apa what the case is all about, right? But I think there is no need for you to explain on the methods of this detection of art forgery and so on. Okay, you just give the definition of art forgery and then try to relate to this case. Okay, so for this case study number 2, there are 2 cases. So you have to mention in your introduction, in your summary of the case, you have to mention that there are 2 cases involved in case study number 2. First one is Eric Hebborn and second is involve Mark Landis. But these 2 cases is actually confront the same issue, okay, which is art forgeries. You kena mention macam tu. So that orang akan dapat clear idea. Okay, this case is about art forgeries, but it involves to different cases, for example. Alright, and then next, okay, that way. Okay, next is okay for the summary of the cases. I would like to have only a summary in a point form. Right, but then your summary of the case, you put it in a long words and you just read the case, which is, I believe that me, including all class members, already read the case. So you do not have to repeat by reading the cases. If that one in your summary of the case slide tu, that one is not a summary. Okay, that one is not a summary. You just summarize these two cases, just put in a point form and then you explain. Okay, that one will be better. Okay, and then okay, now next is in your slide you have mentioned that art forgery is uncommon in Malaysia, right? Okay, you mentioned that art forgery is uncommon in Malaysia, but you did not cite or put any sources or reference. Okay, how do you know and how do you so sure about this statement? Right? You have to put sources ataupun you cite siapa yang cakap kata kat Malaysia ni tak ada berlaku ni. Mana you tahu? Where do you get these facts? Group number 3? Where do you get the fact of art forgery is uncommon in Malaysia? Mana you dapat ke you rasa-rasa je ni?
Dekat surat khabar.
Surat khabar. So, that's why you have to put the sources. Sepatutnya you tulis kat situ the star bila. Tahun bila. Saya dah cakap kat you kan, you reference ataupun cite, you kena refer to APA style. Saya ada mention during our first class kan? Kan?
Yes, madam.
Okay. So that one is regarding the citation. And then okay. Question number 2 Question number 2, the way you answer question number 2, comment on Heaven's personal moral code. Alright. So I think this one is not answer the question. You did not answer the question. Alright. Because Heaven's personal moral code here, you have to focus on his action of not sell the forged painting to amateur collector. Because if you can see the case, if you can see the case, okay, you ni hebon kan? Okay. Dalam ni dia ada cakap second paragraph tu. However, his personal moral code would not allow him to sell his forgeries to amateur collectors. So, question number 2, in question number 2, you have to comment on this. You have to comment on this. Okay? Alright, and then okay, and then regarding your conclusion, conclusion pun you actually should give the conclusion by summarizing the two cases. Okay, so you can give overall conclusion based on these two cases and give your suggestion. Okay, you tak perlu pergi pada case Hebon, pada Landis, tak perlu. Sebab these two cases is actually share the same issues, which is art forgeries. So you just can combine these two cases and make it conclude the case by giving your suggestion or your opinion regarding the case. Alright? But overall, I really appreciate your effort and well done. And group number 3, kebetulan pula hari ni line problem, so dia tak clear sangat. But it's okay. Alright? So what I can suggest for the next group nanti ialah sometimes memang kita akan face line problem. So what you can do is that please prepare your slides very informative tau. Jangan letak long words. Betul, jadi kelas pun nak baca. Ni baca dah dalam case, tak perlulah mention lagi dalam slide. So you make your PowerPoint presentation very informative and in an infographic way. So maksudnya bila orang tengok, orang nampak flow, walaupun we cakap sekat-sekat pun orang boleh nampak kat mana you present. Alright, so itu adalah cabaran yang challenge yang you kena hadap bila kita buat online class. So it's always plan A and plan B. plan A, you buat present. Kalau land problem, at least you ada plan B, which is your infographic ataupun you punya PowerPoint yang very informative. Yang maknanya kalau you cakap tersekat-sekat pun, other class members boleh baca you punya slide dan faham. Okay, kalau macam ni dia very long statement ni, lepas tu memang orang tak baca. Just put in a point form. Alright? Good, number 3, okay Okay, tak tahu ke tidur dah tu?
Ada lagi, madam.
Okay. Tak apa. Ini kita, yes.
Saya nak tanya pendapat madam lah pasal kes ni. Kan dua-dua Mak Eric ni dengan Mak
Landis
kan, dia terlepas daripada law tu.
Law.
So macam bagi saya lah macam tak adil lah kan. So bagi pendapat madam pasal tu macam mana? Sebab kalau bagi saya macam nanti kalau orang tahu, memang orang tahulah kes ni kan. So macam bagi saya macam nanti akan ada lagi kes tu, akan ada lagi lepas ni.
But it actually happen kan. Tak semestinya art forgery. Kalau kita tengok kes-kes lain pun, banyaklah kita tahu benda tu salah tapi kita buat sebab apa? Tak ada apa? Kita tak ada enforcement. Kita ada law but tak ada enforcement, tak guna juga. Okay, kita ada law, kena pakai SOP, kena follow SOP, kena pakai mask pergi bazar. Tapi kalau tak ada enforcement, tak ada orang check, awak rasa orang jaga ke jarak pakai mask pergi bazar? Tak ada kan? The same goes to these two cases ni. Okay, first one, memang kalau kita is unfair, but do you remember I already explained on you the difference between ethics and law. Okay, you boleh baca part tu. Macam Ashraf sebut tadi, you kena boleh differentiate between ethics and law. That's why I kata orang yang follow rules atau follow law ni tak semestinya ethical. So you kena dalam hal ni you kena differentiate between ethics and law. Alright. So another thing is that Hebon never sued because Embrace Art Expert refused to admit. Maksudnya sekarang Hebon ni dia tak kena tindakan undang-undang sebab tak ada orang report, tak ada orang saman. Okay, so kalau law nak make it as macam nak dakwa dia, nak tangkap dia pun, tapi tak based on what? Dia tak ada report, dia tak ada orang yang nak saman. Sebab expert ni malu nak mengaku yang dia ni tak boleh nak bezakan antara lukisan yang original dengan yang tipu. Okay, that's why dia tak sue. Okay. And then yang Mak Landis ni pula, FBI ni kata, polis kata ini bukannya kes-kes besar pun, biasa je. Alright. So dia tak ada apa yang dia buat. So apa yang saya boleh suggest ialah sepatutnya the two artist ni, macam saya cakap tadi lah, dia kena patternkan dia punya masterpiece. So kalau dia patternkan, ada orang tiru, then dia boleh sue orang tu. Sekarang ni bila dia tak patternkan, dia nak sue pun tak boleh, polis pun tak boleh ambil tindakan yang based on what? Tak boleh. Siapa-siapa pun boleh ambil you punya work. Okay, sebab you at the first place you tak patternkan apa yang you buat. So orang boleh ambil suka hati. Itu adalah both artist punya ignorance lah. Benda tu kalau dia tak dia realize dia tak nak orang copy dia punya masterpiece, dia sepatutnya patternkan. Okay, bila dia tak patternkan, sebab tu dua orang ni buat kerja dengan copy original paint tu and then donate dan jual ke orang. Alright. Boleh. Syarifah kan tanya tadi kan? Syarifah Mukminah.
Ya saya.
Nampak tak? But the point is ethics and law ni sekarang you nampak. Masa saya explain dalam kelas mungkin tak nampak. Alamak, apa benda pula differentiate ethics and law kan?
Masa tu tak nampak sangat.
Tapi bila you dah go through this case, then you can see tak semestinya orang yang follow law tu adalah orang yang ethical. Sebab law pun ialah man-made law kan. So macam itulah. So you buat kata Ashraf tadi, itu ada antara point yang you kena consider untuk jawab soalan ni. Alright? Okay, now the way you answer the question, for question number 1, is it ethically acceptable to sell forgeries to art experts who should be able to differentiate a fake from an authentic work art? So, saya kata tadi, untuk menjawab soalan-soalan macam ni, dia tak ada clearly yes or no answer. Okay, sebab ini melibatkan you punya judgement. But macam mana you nak tahu jawapannya betul ke tak? Ialah the way you justify. Okay, the way you justify. So katakan tadi, is it ethically acceptable? Katakan tadi group kata no, kan? Group 3 jawab jawapan dia no, kan? Kan? So katakan you kata this is not ethically acceptable. So you have to justify lah why you said so. Okay, maybe now point number 1, this is kind of lying. Katakan this is kind of lying. So according to categorical imperative ni jatuh bawah mana? Teleology ke deontology? Anyone? Anyone? Categorical imperative ni jatuh bawah mana? Teleology ke deontology?
Dion saya rasa.
Sorry?
Dion saya.
Rasa?
Konsi ya?
Ha?
Consequentialism lah.
Consequentialism is teleology, utilitarian. Categorical imperative ni Kant's theory kan? Kant's theory tu siapa? Dia buat theory apa? Deontology kan? Duty kan?
Deontology motivation.
Deontology, motivation for behavior, duty kan? So, you boleh jawab macam ni. Okay, number 1. Is it ethically acceptable? In my opinion, it is not ethically acceptable because number 1, this is kind of lying. According to Kant's ethic, categorical imperative, people should act in a manner that you want others to treat you. So in this case, lying cannot be a maxim. Maksudnya, you kena jawab maksudnya ialah kalau you tak suka orang menipu you, jangan tipu orang. Itu rules number 1 under categorical imperative. Okay. Number 2, maybe you can answer that. Number 2, this is not ethically acceptable because it is violate the right of original painter. Okay, original painter have the right to dia ada hak untuk mendapat pujian, dia ada hak untuk sebab dia punya masterpiece tu kan. So when you copy their masterpiece, so actually you violate the right of original painter. So dekat sini you can use the theory of rights. Okay, theory of rights, right? And then third, you can also talk about the virtue ethic atau personal attribute. Okay, kalau dua orang ni, Landis dengan siapa nama Hebron ni, memang ada good personal attribute. At the first place, they will not copy the masterpiece of the original painter. Okay, sebab dia dah tahu benda tu salah. Okay, itu adalah daripada dia punya inner self awareness, ethical awareness. Alright, that's how you answer the question. But then, mungkin juga you nak menjawab soalan ni sebagai yes. Yes, it is ethically acceptable. Why? Okay, number 1. You pun justify lah number 1. It is ethically acceptable because number 1, the original painter did not patent their masterpiece. It is the ignorance of the original painter itself. So bila dia tak patentkan, everyone can copy their masterpiece. And then number 2, mungkin juga you boleh jawab from the utilitarian consequentialism punya theory. Okay, this kind of lying is actually not cause any harm to the original painter. Since the original painter expert pun tak boleh nak differentiate the authentic of the paint tu kan. So maksudnya dia tak give any harm to others. So according to utilitarian, as long as it is not harm others, so it's okay. It is considered as ethical. Right? That's how you answer the question number 1. Okay? Ini saya ajar ni sebab nanti kalau ada exam keluar soalan macam ni, and then you know lah how to answer. Okay? Boleh tak? Clear tak?
Clear, madam.
Clear, alright.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So actually nak jawab soalan nombor 1 ni, you tengoklah pula markah dia berapa. Kalau markah dia sikit je, tak baloi lah you jawab banyak. You pandai lah, you dah SEM 6 kan? You pandai lah. You jawab tu bagi point based on marks given. Okay, number 2, comment on Heaven's personal moral code. So to answer this question, like I mentioned before, you have to focus on the attitude of Heaven, the action of Heaven, of do not allow him to sell his Forgery to dia tak jual dia punya painter tu kepada amateur collector. So you kena comment on this. So what do you think? What is comment? You rasa walaupun royalty from their painting kan, and then the point yang group number 3 present tadi, dia akan harm the reputation of the museum. Sebab apa museum yang macam ni boleh keluarkan lukisan yang menipu, yang copy paste daripada orang lain. Okay, and then dia boleh mungkin juga dari segi yang donation tu, yang dia donate tu, badan-badan yang menerima donation itu, reputation of badan-badan yang menerima reputation tu mungkin get harm juga. Kenapa you terima donation daripada benda yang tak betul? Okay, so this is how you answer question number 3. Okay, number 4. Does the fact that Landis did not profit from his donation mean that it was ethically acceptable to give? Is no. So why? Why? Landis ni dia buat kerja elok dah. Dia buat kerja kalau dari sudut utilitarianism, teleology, dia punya consequence of the action is good because it help others kan by giving donation. So it is considered ethical based on utilitarian. But you boleh jawab macam tu juga, ataupun lagi satu, you boleh mention that yang macam saya explain tadi lah, yang deontology kata lying is not a good, is a wrong action. Okay, it is not acceptable as an ethical value. Okay, so maksud sini you boleh jawab yang no, because copying someone work or masterpiece is not right. It involves lying, so it is not acceptable. Right? Boleh? Boleh tak?
Boleh, madam.
Madam nak
Okay.
tanya satu lagi.
Alright.
Contoh kalau jawab dalam exam kan, kalau tiba-tiba macam dia kena konsisten ataupun tak apa je. Kalau macam contoh tiba-tiba kita nak kata dia ni tak beretika, lepas tu soalan nombor 2 ni dia beretika pula. Gitu.
Okay. Tak apa, sebab macam question number 1, number 2 ni kan, contohnya macam number 1 tadi, group you kata no kan, so you dah justify, and then number 2, you nak comment kepada personal moral code. Sebab sekarang ni kita ada banyak teori. Bila banyak teori, dia ada banyak pandangan, banyak, you kena tengok dari banyak sudut. Okay, so tak apa, jawapannya tak konsisten pun tak apa. Sebab yang nombor 1 dengan 2 ni memang soalan totally different. Number 1, dia suruh comment dalam situasi yang lain. Nombor 2, dia suruh komen pasal personal moral code, which is dia ni walaupun dia jahat, dia menipu, tapi dia ni bagus juga sebab dia tak jual dekat amatur orang yang baru nak kenal painting. Dia tak jual benda menipu kat dia orang. Sebab apa? Sebab dia tahu amatur ni tak reti nak differentiate. Alangkan expert pun boleh ditipu, apatah lagi yang amatur. Itu you boleh puji jugalah. Okay, and then sama juga Nanti you akan belajar lepas ni topik yang kita akan belajar ialah ethical framework for business environment So nanti kita akan belajar macam mana company buat analysis of nak buat ethical decision making. So bila nak analyse tu, dia akan gabungkan teori-teori yang kita dah belajar ni. Okay, so you tengok sini dalam nak apply sesuatu satu jawapan nak apply teori-teori dan satu jawapan, you boleh menggunakan lebih daripada satu teori dan jawapannya boleh tidak konsisten sebab lain teori, lain dia punya approach. Okay, lain dia punya treatment towards ethical issues. Alright, so menjawab soalan Syarifah tadi, you boleh walaupun tak konsisten, but make sure your justification is strong. Kalau katakan you jawab tak kena, salah lah. Okay.
Thank you, madam.
Alright. Ada lagi tak nak tanya? Saya dah guide you macam mana nak jawab case study ni. Ada lagi tak? Tak ada? Tak ada. Okay, kalau tak ada, we are actually at the end of topic 2. Okay, kita dah cover topik number 1 and topik number 2. Kita pergi lambat sebab saya buat sekaligus dengan presentation. Senang Okay, so for group number 2, yang kita tak cover lagi ialah Islamic ethical principles. So, what you can do is that, sebabkan kita tak cover tajuk tadi, so you tak boleh nak komen lagi dalam case ni. Alright, so apa yang saya nak buat sekarang ialah kalau you include Islamic ethical Islamic ethical principles ni to this case, what do you think? Is it acceptable as an ethical action ataupun tak? So, what is your justification? Apa you rasa? From Islamic ethical principles. What do you think about this case?
Dia unsur uncertainty, Doktor.
Uncertainty kat mana?
Sebab dia copyright kan.
Tapi orang tak tahu. Kecuali kalau dia mention, tak ada. Takkan dia nak jual nak mention ni saya copy master original paint punya ni. Dia tak akan bagi tahu kan. So you tak boleh kata uncertainty.
Oh, okay.
You tak boleh nak kata itu sebagai uncertainty. Sebab benda tu at the first place memang tak, pembeli tak tahu. Yang tahu hanyalah Hebon dengan Landis ni lah. Sebab dia je yang menipu. Even original painter pun tak boleh nak, tak tahu. Apa yang you boleh buat? Apa yang boleh conclude? Okay? Apa yang you boleh conclude from Islamic ethical perspective regarding this case? So is it ethical or not according to Islamic ethical principles?
Depend on yang tu nak dakwa ataupun tak. Kalau dia cakap macam okey jadi tak ada dakwa apa, okey tak isu.
From Islamic ethical principle, you kena tengok balik apa root issues kat sini. I think the root issues here is lying kan. So is it acceptable in Islam? Lying is acceptable in Islam or not?
Not Doktor.
So you boleh jawab macam tu. From Islamic perspective, from Islamic ethical principles, the act of Hebron and Landis involve lying. So lying is not allowed in Islam. So it is not considered as ethical activities ataupun ethical action. Walaupun even though Landis used the paint for the donation. So benda tu tetap dikira salah, tak kira regardless the purpose of the action, good or not, lying according to Islam is wrong. Okay, is unethical. I know we have, but I believe that not only in Islam, lying also is not acceptable in other religions. Saya rasa tak ada satu pun agama dalam dunia dia punya followers dia buat jahat. Alright, so you can use. Tapi dalam silibus kita memang ada yang Islamic ethical principle, so you kena tahulah. Okay, and then you boleh comment on what? Apa lagi selain lying? Apa lagi selain lying? The transaction. The transaction, business transaction. Hebon. Sebab Hebon ni dia jual lukisan tu. From Islamic ethical perspective, is it ethical for Hebon to sell the deceive pen, maksudnya dia menipu tu, benda yang dia menipu tu dekat orang. Lepas tu dia claim itu dia punya. Is it ethical?
Not ethical lah.
Yeah, business you boleh fokus pada transaction juga jual beli dia tu. Kalau ikut Islam valid ke tak tapi kau jual benda menipu. Tak ori.
Duit haram, madam.
Yelah walaupun dia western yelah, tapi ini sebab soalan suruh, katakan kalau soalan suruh comment from Islamic ethical perspective. Okay, then apa lagi yang you boleh highlight untuk komen daripada segi Islamic ethical perspective? Apa lagi? You boleh komen juga dari sudut justice. Justice. Sebab apa? Ni kira adil ke tak ni? Orang buat salah tak kena pun tangkap. Adil ke tak?
Tak.
So you can comment on the justice part, just. So according to Islamic ethical perspective, this is unjust to original painter and also to the clients of Heaven and also the receiver of the donation of Mak Landis, sebab dia tak tahu dia beli barang tipu, dia tak tahu dia terima donation barang tipu, dan dia fair untuk orang lain yang menipu. Faham tak? Mentang-mentang dia tipu lukisan je, tak kena tangkap pun. So itu dari segi law, siapa buat salah sepatutnya kenalah kalau tak kena tangkap pun at least kena saman ataupun kena dakwa ataupun sorry?
Refund.
Dia kena bagi royalty tu balik ke original painter. So you boleh komen dari sudut tu. So apa yang you boleh buat sekarang, subjek ni you kena banyak membaca. Kalau you banyak baca, baru you boleh jawab. Macam tadi bila saya suruh you highlight any point you nak komen daripada Islamic ethical principle, semua senyap je. Semua tak nampak apa benda yang dia nak komen. Okay, so dalam ni, first of all, bila you nak jawab soalan, bila you baca case, you cari dulu apa isu dalam ni. Okay, dalam isu ni sekarang ialah kedua-dua orang ni, dia menipu lukisan. So apa ethical issue yang involved? Ini adalah you summarizekan sendiri bila dapat case. Ethical issue yang involved ialah first dia menipu. Yang kedua transaction, business transaction tu. Yang ketiga donation tu. Yang keempat yang dia tak kena dakwa tu. So you kena highlightkan dulu. Bila dah ada ethical issues ni, so senang untuk you jawab soalan. Jawab soalan you akan fokus kepada ethical issues tu. Okay, dari you relate kan dengan apa yang soalan nak. Faham? So setiap kali you dapat case tadi nanti, first of all you have to understand the case and then you have to analyze the case. Okay, highlight any ethical issues. Then baru you answer the question. So itu lagi senang untuk you sebab you nampak you punya direction untuk explain setiap soalan tu. Kalau tak you explain macam mengarut tak menjawab soalan pun. Okay? Boleh tak? So clear tak sekarang macam nak jawab soalan case tadi?
Ya, madam.
Okay. Okay, clear. Sebab kelas kita ni sebenarnya bukan fokus pada cara menjawab soalan je. Okay, cuma ni saya selitkan je lah supaya nanti bila ada soalan dalam exam, you boleh tahu macam mana cara you nak menjawab soalan ni. Yang the most important thing is that we attend this class is to produce you, to groom you to be a good person and to be a good future accountant. Okay, itu adalah objektif utama kenapa kita offer course ni kepada accounting students. So now you dah tahu kan, rupanya ethics ni apa, you at the first place kalau masa-masa start kelas, you tak tahu benda apa lah nak belajar dalam ethics ni kan, you tak nampak lagi. So sekarang you dah nampak. Okay, apa yang you perlu tahu dalam subjek business ethics and corporate governance. Okay, so for next class, group number 4 akan present kan. So nanti saya akan upload dalam e-clip the task for next presentation. So the next presentation is actually related to Islamic ethical principle, still under topic 2. So that one is last part of topic number 2. So Islamic ethical principle for group number 4. So nanti saya akan upload dalam e-clip the task. And also I already upload dalam e-clip tu article regarding Islamic ethical principle. Okay, siapa yang dah buka e-clip dia nampak lah kot dah ada benda tu. So apa yang saya nak ialah you have to read the article and then you boleh join the forum yang saya created dalam e-clip. Okay, you baca dulu artikel. So artikel tu basically dia explain dekat you Islamic ethical principles and then they try to compare and contrast Islamic ethical jelas lah perbezaan between Western and Islamic ethical theories. Alright, and then bila you dah habis baca ni, you akan lagi faham dan you boleh join forum yang saya create tu. Okay, boleh tak? Clear tak?
Ya, Doktor. Clear, Doktor.
Okay, any other question?
I think no, Doktor.
Okay, the article regarding Islam ethical principles tu, itu saya bagi satu je. Okay, kalau you dapat cari banyak lagi okay lah sebab itu akan develop your understanding regarding ethical theories and it may kata yang artikel tu masuk exam tak. Okay, kalau macam ini. Alright, so if there's no questions, I think that's all for today. Okay, see you next class. Oh, lagi satu. And next class, saya nak conduct quiz 1. Okay, quiz 1. So your quiz 1 will cover topic 1 and 2. Okay, business ethics fundamentals and also ethics theory lah, moral reasoning in business. Okay, so I akan conduct quiz 1 ni dekat e-clip. Okay, jangan risau, dia bukan soalan subjektif. Saya buat true false dengan MCQ saja. Okay, ni quiz je, bukan midterm lagi, quiz saja. Okay, so before you
Berapa soalan, Doktor? Berapa soalan, Doktor?
dalam 20 questions. 20 questions. Yes or no.
1 jam, 30 minit.
20 questions. Saya tak tengok lagi berapa minit. Maybe dalam 30 minit je kot. Tengok pada soalan. Sebab soalan tak panjang, pendek je.
Waktu kelas ke, madam?
Okay. Waktu kelas. Mungkin saya akan buat waktu kan you patutnya kelas ni pukul 8 kan. Mungkin saya akan buat maknanya kita start kelas 9.30. So awal tu ke? Mana you prefer? You prefer after class ke before class tu?
After.
Kalau tak ada jawab saya ke waktu saya.
After kot.
You prefer class After presentation?
Yes.
Nanti saya mengajar kat kelas, kawan-kawan present sibuk study. Tak pay attention nanti. So you nak after class, tak nak pagi tu?
Mana-mana. Saya okey je mana-mana, Doktor.
Kalau after class, you after this class, habis pukul 11 ni, you tak ada kelas lain
Tak ada.
Pukul 2 tak ada kelas. Pukul 2 tu ada setengah pelajar yang ada kelas waktu pukul 2 tu.
Oh, so tak apalah, maksudnya kalau nak buat lepas kelas, saya akan start pukul 11 sampai pukul 12 lah kot. Boleh?
Boleh, madam.
Okay. Kalau macam tu, next week next week kita ada dua benda. First one is presentation and second is quiz one. So quiz one will be held after class at 11 and most probably 1 hour lah kot until 12. Okay, ada 20 questions of true and false and also MCQ. Simple question but you have to read topic 1 and topic 2. Okay, including the Islamic ethical principle tu lah yang artikel saya bagi tu. Alright? Boleh? Any other question?
No.
Tak ada
Okay, I think no.
Alright, okay. Kalau tak ada, good. That's all for today. Postpone our class with Tasbih Farah instructions.